So we go from 3 quarterbacks and 4 picks. I thought that over was going to hit.
Yeah. Boom. It ends right there.
The over-under was 4.5.
Right.
And that's it. The slide begins for Will Levis. Hendon Hooker was never even mentioned. It's like he's stuck in the on-deck circle until Will Levis gets picked. And let me say this. I thought they were getting
I'm
away
gonna be
from
interested.
televising.
Yeah. Sorry. I was just going to, can I say, I'd be interested if Hendon Hooker might go off the board before Will Levis tonight. I don't think that's a crazy thought. Levis, I know he's in a tough spot, and he's going to go off the board somewhat early here, but I wouldn't be shocked in the top of the second round if somebody went Hendon Hooker over Will Levis, right? We heard some of the concerns about Levis early on in the process, and that seems to be really what the true storyline was, and then we got, thrown some BS by things and thrown off, throw some curveballs, but yeah, the league cooled on Levis a little bit. Sorry, Mike, I just wanted to throw that in there.
No, you're fine. And here's the key.
Yeah.
Because I see the images of him sitting there. He clearly is a guy who is surprised by this development as it's unfolding. And at one point, the league's position was, we're not going to have all these shots of the guy in the green room who is experiencing this agony of not being picked. Well, there were more than a few of them last night. And the other side of it, too, there was some reporting that happened before the draft as it relates to the non-invitation of Quentin Johnson, who ended up being taken much higher than expected because they think he's not going to be taken round 1, so we don't want to put him in a bad spot. Somebody had bad information about Will Levis. And the most important thing the agent can do before the draft is set the expectation of the player. Part of the role is to get the player drafted as high as possible, to use your skills of persuasion to get GMs and coaches and owners to think of the guy the way that you want him to be viewed and to see the best attributes and downplay the negatives. But at the end of the day, the agent had better be damn sure where the floor is. And the agent had better communicate that to the client. That's important information because you're going to have some members of the Will Levis family who are pissed off that they had to sit there all night through that indignity. We wouldn't have come to Kansas City if we knew he wasn't going to be taken in round 1. We could have sat at home and not answered the phone all night long and not embarrassed ourselves out here acting like this guy's going to be a top 5 pick and he doesn't get picked at all. So this is a failure by the agents to know exactly where the floor is. And I know it's not easy to do, but plenty of agents know how to do it. We knew what the Jalen Carter floor was. We knew. Drew Rosenhaus knew. Jalen Carter's not going to be in Kansas City if he's going to tumble out of the top 10 after he calls his shot. I'm not visiting anyone who doesn't have a top 10 pick. He knew where the floor was. Jackson Smith-Njigba. We talked about this yesterday.
Right.
His floor was 22.
Yep.
His agent knew. And he went at 20. Even though he's not a number 1 receiver.
Right.
Even though he's not going to draw double coverage and be a game breaker. They knew where the floor was. He wouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
Somebody gave Will Levis bad information. And I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't a change made in agents, just like we saw Geno Smith do after he didn't get picked in round 1 10 years ago. Somebody didn't know the most important piece of information to be known. Where is Will Levis's floor? And we still don't know where it is.
No, we don't. It's tough, right? This does happen from time to time. I thought the TV coverage was just right? I don't think they went overboard in putting him on the screen too much. We got there in the early 20s, and we thought, hey, wait, there might still be a chance, so they were showing him on the screen a little bit. But I think after the Vikings at 23, that stopped, right? That's where he kind of, I don't think we saw him again after that. And I thought that was the right move.
Somebody thought he left.
Right,
Somebody,
which he didn't.
Somebody told me he left.
No, he didn't, because
Yeah,
we
okay.
saw him late in the draft, and even when the draft was over, there was a few clips of him back in the green room, and he was on the phone with somebody, so he was there. But I thought the NFL did a good job of kind of pulling the plug there. It's an unfortunate situation. It's uncomfortable. And, yeah, you'd like the agent to know too, but I do know that it can work in a way sometimes where, hey, when the invitations go out and you're going, there's still teams that, hey, it's Will or this guy. It's Will. So they might have got those answers from people. And as we talked about earlier, I think there's a lot of people that didn't know they were going to get picked by that team. It wasn't communicated all the way. So, I mean, you're right. There's a skill by the agents, but it's a tough one too. And sometimes the agent goes, hey, we're going to go even though we don't know, right? And I think we got a few spots where you're, one of their top two guys. They go make teams think who are on the fringe between one of those two guys, hey, wait, somebody likes him. That's why he's there. He knows he's going to get picked. And maybe that forces the hand of a team to do it. So there is that goes into it too, Mike.
But you got to communicate it clearly to the kid so he's not stunned.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look like – he looked stunned.
He did.
You can only hide so much of your facial expression. Right. He looked stunned by what was happening. He walked into an uppercut by going to the draft and not getting drafted, and he's going to be pissed about it because somebody didn't get the message through to him the way they could have, the way they should have, that there's a very real chance you're going to be sitting there all night. I thought it was funny too. I don't want to take any gratuitous shots here. It's not gratuitous. It's applicable. ESPN touting the fact that its analytics had Will Levis at less than 0.1% of a chance of not being drafted at all in round one. I think that says something about your formula.
Yeah.
When the numbers, when the outcome defies completely and totally your mathematical calculation, it's probably time to go back and reconfigure
what is
the
that
calculation itself.
Yeah.
You got some bad factors in your model if that is what the prediction was, because the prediction was as wrong as it could have been. Let's go ahead and take a break. We'll talk about teams that doubled their pleasure on Thursday night with not one, but two new players beyond the Houston Texans. There were several more. We'll get to that when PFT Live continues right after this. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.